Hello and welcome to today's Lol Esports Round Up, where we cover the news of the last 24 hours, whether it's actual news or game recaps and previews. Just seeing if the mic was on the screen. So we have news first, and then we're going to cover the LPL, LCK from today, LCK opening day, LPL week 2, day 3, the last day before Chinese New Year, and then preview tomorrow's LCK games. So the news, there are a lot of players that are unable to play in the LC. Well, there might be multiple players unable to play in the LCS, but many players can't play in NA Challengers this week due to visa issues. The one team that has officially made an announcement is FlyQuest. Isla, with visa issues, is unable to play support right now. Winsome is going to come up from their challenger team and play. Winsome with Unicorns of Love Sexy Edition in ERL last year in summer. Mind you, Winsome also played for Cloud9 in spring. 7.4 KDA, 71.8 KP. Cleared, 2.77 vision score per minute, would clear almost 2 wards every 5 minutes. 8 champions, 11 games. Yumi and Nami were the 2 champions he played more than once, and those are EU Masters stats. Winsome provides this team. I don't know if Spica can, pull off Korean comms, but if he can, this team has the opportunity to go Korean speaking immediately. I don't know if Isla could speak Korean. Maybe they could have done that before anyways. But I know that obviously Impact, Prince, Vikla, and Winsome can, all former LCK players. Winsome obviously growing up in Korea. And then Spica's the only exception to that. And if Spica can speak enough Korean to pull it off, they could go Korean speaking immediately. So Winsome and Prince, maybe that helps Prince at first get acclimated to the LCS. I mean, Prince is should be fine, but that's the deal with that. When it comes to other players, really no other teams have announced anything at the highest level. Challenger players are being replaced by other amateur players right now for the short term. Now the recap. So 3 of the 4 series today included teams that were in my power rankings. So 7 out of 8 teams were in my top 25. FPX and BLG. FPX being the only team not in the top 25. BLG, 9th in the power rankings. They would win 2-1. Elk ends up being MVP, going 18-8 and 10, 30% of damage. Yagao 11-7 and 21 in mid lane. LWX led the way for FPX, going 7-10, 22, 34% of damage. Honestly, I thought BLG looked pretty sloppy in this one. FPX doesn't look great to begin with. Really, the reason they won was because Care got Kassadin again. And Kassadin is clearly the most OP champ in mid lane. The fact that it keeps getting to, even second phase of drafts is ridiculous. I think Kassadin should be a must-picker ban. It's absolutely disgusting, and it has been the difference maker for FPX both times they've won. Care really put the team on his back in that one. Howie and June, I thought both were kind of like non-existent. June did not deal a lot of damage playing Vi, I think, multiple times. Mid lane, Yagao got caught out more than once. Really, I don't think Yagao has looked as good as he did on JDG with BLG. And then bot lane-wise, I thought Elk and On did well in games 1 and game 3, the games they won. Game 3 especially, I believe Elk was on Lucian in that one. Played Lucian today, I know that. A lot of games to think about. But nevertheless, I thought Elk played very dominant in that series in the bot lane. LWX did what he could, but it's going to become a thing. Like Jala, who did his... Honestly, Jala, who was really disappointed. I thought he'd be a lot better in top lane. He's not been great. Picking Kayasante, I think Kayasante is not very good. So... FPX continues to struggle. BLG gets out with a win. After that, we had Top and Weibo. Top number 2 in my power rankings. Weibo number 6. Weibo pull off the upset 2-1 in their 2023 debut. I give Karsa MVP, which might ruffle some feathers. If you feel there's a different MVP, join the Discord. We have MVP voting after every series. The next day, before the games are played, I make note of who was voted as the MVP. And we go forward with there. Not a lot of people are participating, which is fine. Just don't complain when I do a video and say this is the MVP and you disagree but didn't feel the need to participate. Light went 13, 8, and 11, 28% of damage. Xiaohu 8, 4, and 11 in mid lane. Jackie left 13, 8, and 5, 34% of damage for top. So, what was the deal with this? So a lot of people are probably going to think of Light as the player that should probably get it. And I'm thinking about Game 3 specifically here. So we're looking at Game 3 in a box for a second. So they get ganked early. And they get behind in a Caitlyn Lux lane. And we know Caitlyn from behind is useless, right? So now Weibo are behind in lane to top. Tian's come down there, and he's made something happen, and he's given his, bot lane duo an opportunity. And so later on in the laning phase, Tian goes down there again, and Weibo call Karsa to bail them out, right? Karsa needs to go down there to bail out Light and Crisp, as far as I'm concerned. And Tian flashes over the wall, attempting to make a play, fails. That results in Karsa coming down there. Karsa's on his way, actually. Karsa goes down there. They get a kill onto, I think it was onto Tian at the time. I don't think it was on the top bot lane. And it forced the top bot lane off of the turret, which gave multiple plates to Weibo, which gave Weibo an XP advantage. And now, all of a sudden, Weibo were ahead of top after being behind. Karsa going down there really was a facilitator to what got them ahead. In Game 3, the mid lane was almost non-existent. Xiaohu had a moment where many maybe flashed, and he was very cool and collected. But the mid lane was non-existent when the game was close. And top lane in Game 3, we saw that, there's an exchange of solo kills between King Tian on Jax and the Shy on K'Sante. I think it'd be, it's hard to ignore one and not the, try and ignore one. Like, they traded solo kills in this game. Game 1, Weibo ran over top, though. We will look at the first two games, talk about them for a second. Weibo ran them over. They're up 7k gold by like 22 minutes without a bear, and they were killing them. That's without a doubt. Top really did not look great. I was not impressed at all. In Game 2, the Shy got cute picking Nidalee in top lane, which resulted in a solo kill for him. King Tian screwed up. If King Tian doesn't miss one of his attacks when he comes out of the bush, that probably goes the other way. But he missed. That's part of the game. He missed, and he died. So, that's a thing. And the Nidalee pick, obviously weird, out of the box, but against a tank it makes sense, right, theoretically. Outside of lane, I felt like he was relatively useless. And as a result, they lost the game. Not only him, it wasn't his fault, but they lost the game because of draft. So, in the end, top ended up pulling that one out. Honestly, King Tian on K'Sante's probably had the best K'Sante games thus far out of anybody that's I've watched play it, which is sad in a way because King Tian I don't think is overly great. So that's the deal with that. I still don't understand the Vi priority. Vi obviously is beating Wukong pretty handily. I think it's probably like 7-8-1 now or so. Regardless of how the matchup should go, the win rate is what it is. And then the Zeri Yumi lack of prio, like Lucian Nami may win 1 out of every 4 or 5 games, but I don't think we go about our lives on a 20%, giving that 20% chance a big, a lot of credence when we're looking at win rates and probabilities of things, succeeding. So the drafts are need to get fixed. LCK, Damwon Kia, and DRX. So, DK, 4th in my power rankings, DRX 19th. DRX looked awful. Damwon Kia ran them right over. Canyon ends up being MVP. Deft went 16, 2, and 13, 32% of damage, dealt over 1,000 damage per minute in game 1, almost 1,500. Kellen, 2, 0, and 31, went deathless. Kellen showing up against his former 80 carry Duck Dom. I felt like going into this one, Duck Dom had to prove, you dumped me, you kept Kellen, and I thought Kellen was the lesser of the two. But Duck Dom didn't show up in this one. Fate led the way in damage, going 1, 7, and 3 with 28%. Picked Talia in game 1. That was not very good. It was a toughie for DRX. I mean, like I said, Canyon's MVP, so I got to sell it because I don't have stats there. His Elise in game 1 was exceptional. He really got ahead of Krakow and just was all over the damn place. And as a result, the team won. Like, he really facilitated at a high level and gapped Krakow. And then in game 2, predicted Krakow gank and top lane on Lee Sin. And Lee Sin is not a great champion, don't get me wrong. But Canyon once again gapped Krakow, predicted what he was doing, did what he had to do, and it was really hard to ignore what he did in game 1. So Damo and Kia, it's not as much really to say about this one. Like, it was pretty clear as day that they were the better team today. Krakow and Fate, like I said, did not look great, and going into this year, I said this is going to be a problem for them. If compared to Gen.g and KT, the two other teams that I have between 4th and 6th. Now T1 and Gen.g, T1 are 1st, Gen.g are 12th. Faker ends up being MVP. T1 win 2-0, Gumayushi 12-3 and 22, 34% of damage. Faker 11-4 and 18. Chovy 2-7 and 12, 33% of damage for Gen.g. So game 1 was pretty close. We saw Gen.g clearly had a game plan, right? They gave Pays, I think Pays had Zeri in both games, possibly. He definitely had in game 1. And with that, they really helped him out. They went 4-man dive twice down to top lane to put Pays in a position where he could succeed, and he did. He carried the game for them. They end up losing, but he was clearly the carry for Gen.g in game 1. And Faker, because of this, Guma kind of was taken out of it, in my opinion. And Faker ended up having to put the team on his back. And Zeus had some nice ultimates as well. But Faker on Azir was very impactful in these fights, keeping the game close until Guma could catch back up and become relevant in the game. And T1 were able to get past Gen.g in game 1. But Peanuts at least was fantastic, just as good as Canyons earlier in the day, if not better, honestly. And then game 2, T1 kind of just ran them over. So, once it took a little while, though. I guess they didn't run them over. It took a while. Once the mid game really got underway, T1 kind of took control. Faker got really aggressive on Lissandra and just started making play after play after play, and it didn't stop. It didn't stop until the game was over. Faker facilitated that entire game, very aggressive, good calls on his abilities. He did a very good job. So Faker ends up being MVP in my opinion. Really, really facilitating game 2 and kept the game close in game 1. So that's the recap of LPL and LCK today. Sneak peek for tomorrow. Not quite as many great teams tomorrow as today. There's only one team in my top 25 playing tomorrow. It's HLE. They play the Guangdong Freaks. Week 7, day 5, these two organizations played against each other. KDF winning 2-1. You may ask yourself, why did I word it that way? I've been saying all along these two teams. Why did I say these two organizations? Not a single player in the starting lineup on either team are playing for that team tomorrow. Both teams have clean slate with their rosters. There is one player that did play in that game, though, and it is Dudu, who played top lane for HLE in that series. That is now playing for the Freaks, and I guess that's a caveat. Keen was the star of that one, going 11, 5, and 15, but he's not on the Freaks anymore, so it's irrelevant. Dudu and Kingen is my matchup to watch. So the deal is with this, KDF has I don't know if Bulldog's younger than Pays, but Bulldog's also 17. So he and Pays are the youngest players in the 4 major regions. So don't know anything really about him besides stats. We went over the stats before the season started. Bot lane, we have a sub DRX 80 carry playing for the Freaks. We have the DRX challenger support. We have Young J, who is Gen G's sub. So KDF has a bunch of players with not a lot to go off of recently. But Dudu in top lane for the Freaks played last year, like we said, with HLE. So Dudu versus Kingen, it's a good matchup anyways. Dudu is definitely somebody that had to carry for HLE and against the odds last year, and they didn't win many games, but he tried. Kingen, not a very strong player in my opinion. He did well at Worlds in the finals and played the series of his life, but the fact of the matter is the majority of his play has not been up to snuff. So if there is a way KDF wins, at least from an outside perspective right now with not knowing a lot about the players, it would be Dudu trying to carry in 1v9. Discord believes 6 out of 15 people want to see the Bulldog Zeka matchup. A lot of people going off the hype of Zeka from Worlds, obviously. Bulldog, like I said, a very young player with, hopefully a good future that gets an opportunity and gets shown some grace by fans as well in case he does struggle tomorrow. Because he is so young and has a future that is probably bright. After that, you got Nongshim and Fredit Brian. Week 7, day 5, so also the same day these two teams played. Fredit Brian won 2-0. 3 out of 10 players are from that series that are going to play tomorrow. All 3 on Nongshim. Fredit Brian. Nongshim doing the same thing the Freaks are with a bunch of rookie players, essentially. Nongshim, all their players are rookies except support. But Fredit Brian won 2-0. Morgan went 9-2-5 in that series against Kana. Kana now with Damonkia. Vital versus Henna is the matchup I want to watch. So Vital played with Sengoku Gaming in Japan last year, finishing 2nd place. Doing very well. Obviously, DFM run Japan, so finishing 2nd place is pretty good, right? Now, Henna lost his job at points last year, so he's probably a bottom 2 or 3 80 carry in the LCK. So it'll be a good matchup for him. Good test for Vital to see how he stacks up. I think that is definitely an interesting matchup to see. I want to see how Vital does against LCK players after doing so well in Japan. Discord, 9 out of 15 people want to see DN versus Morgan. The Discord has an infatuation with Morgan. They call him Lord Morgan. They love him. That is what it is. DN 07 Power Spike, I believe, is his nickname. So we'll see how that one goes. Both of these series are definitely riveting after we had so many just boring teams play today. I mean, we actually get some great League of Legends tomorrow. So thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Join the Discord. Like I said, if you want to predict these games, you can. There's a predictions channel, a Space for Activities category. You go there, you predict who won. If you watch these series, you can pick the MVP, like I said. There are threads for that. As well as, like I said, the Discord votes on previews as well. So there is stuff there for you to do. YouTube memberships, $3 a month, supports me so I can continue doing this. $10 a month, so you get a badge in the comment section for that $3 if but $10 you get the badge, plus you get extra content including my predictions. By the way, I forget to write this on here. I'm 9-5 so far, so if you want my predictions, summer I went like 68-70%. Right now I'm at 64%, so I'm getting there. Early on in the year, we do have unpredictable things going on, so hopefully I end up righting the ship. But if you want my predictions, that's at the $10 tier. It's extra content. So other than that, thank you for watching, and I hope you come back for more.